Okay?
Okay. So where are we going?
No, that's my question.
Shit.
I'm the one who asked it. Bianca, where are we going?
Well, I mean, today we're going to go pick up my boyfriend Luca from the bus station.
A bus station.
The bus station, because he's coming down from Lisbon.
Lisbon, Portugal. Dare I say, the greatest city on earth.
Honestly, kind of, but I mean...
How is Lisbon not the greatest city on earth?
I mean, it is, like, landscape-wise and, like, people-wise and price-wise.
History,
and stuff like that.
culture.
Yeah. We're very corrupt, lols. Like, our government doesn't run as stably as we hoped it would.
Yeah, but, like, compared to what government?
Compared to other European countries.
Like what? Like, what are we more corrupt in?
Not corrupt, but less stable, at least. And we're less, the way that our system's set up, we're less able to do things.
What do you mean?
Our government is less able to do, like, pass laws and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we have a way...
legislation.
Most European countries, I think, have what are they called? Coalition governments.
No, absolutely. But I think the problem is, like, I think we've gotten too, like, tied down with, like, regulation and bureaucratic red tape and stuff like that.
I agree with that. I think regulation is too high. But I agree
like with the airport,
housing,
50 years to build to decide on where to fucking build the new airport.
Bureaucracy is an issue.
It's like, it's crazy. So I don't know. Like, I would classify it as the best country to come visit, for sure. To live in is very, like, it's very different. Like, it's more complicated.
Okay. I you know what? I see where you're coming from. I kind of agree with you. I'll meet you where you are at, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have planned? What do you want to talk about, B? Where are we going? Not in the literal sense.
Okay.
But in the abstract sense.
Okay. All right. So actually, like, I was giving it some more thought about the video we watched yesterday.
Okay, so context.
Okay.
Last night we had a conversation about climate change.
Yeah, and then it led into AI and, like, the development of, like, new technology and
specifically mapping out proteins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so in that, like,
with AlphaFold. Yeah.
Yeah, with like, yeah. So in that, like, biology side of things, and talking about the advancements in technology and stuff like that, and we talked about all, like, the positive sides and stuff, like, and, like, how great it's gonna be, but we also didn't talk about, like, that there has to be, certain limitations, I guess. Like, for example, biohacking. Like, how far can we take biohacking? Like, should we, like, I'm pretty sure I saw something, I think it was on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, that was, like, an alternate universe kind of, or maybe it was an actual issue. I don't know. I don't know what it was on. But it was, like, talking about how potentially in the future it could become a problem that, like, we've gotten so good at biohacking that everyone can be super intelligent, super athletic, and super
Why is that an
whatever.
issue?
Doesn't that, like, kind of become like I don't know. It just kind of makes things fake.
Fake? Why?
Well, it's not like a natural thing that we're doing, and like, it's not like our, like, I mean it is as if we have created it, but, like, I feel like could it be taking us too far?
Okay, wait.
Like, could it be, like, of course it's gonna bring a lot of, like, positive things and stuff like that, but we could be taking it too far.
Okay, I want to quickly address the it's not natural thing. That we do a lot of things that aren't natural. Like, I don't think penicillin is natural. Vaccines aren't natural.
No, I agree. Like, like, it is something we've made, and it's gonna help us develop our future and stuff like that. Because, like, like, all of these vaccines have, like, helped us with healthcare and whatever, and living longer, so we can make more, whatever, just on and on and on. But also, the way that I'm talking about it is, like, what are we taking it too far? Like, for example, with pugs, Like, you know, we've genetically engineered pugs to be the way that they are.
Yeah, but we've genetically engineered pugs in a bad way. Like, they can't breathe, they have hella problems. In this sense,
like, so
in this sense, it would be the opposite. We'd be genetically engineering us to be superior, to be better, to be smarter, more athletic, less disease-ridden. Okay, wait. I think we have to separate the...
Yeah, but this could bring other issues. If we're living...
100%.
If we're living for long enough, then what happens to our food supply? Like, what happens...
Well, I think if we've found a way to genetically engineer humans to be smarter, to live longer and stuff like that, we've probably found a way to genetically engineer food to be more abundant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like, we can probably fix those issues.
Yeah.
And yet, we to this day, we have been living longer every single year that goes by. Can you just check the...
Yeah, you're fine.
Every single year that goes by, we do live longer, and yet our population is steadily, our birth rates are steadily decreasing still. And our population increase, like the rate at which we increase as the population is going down.
Yeah, but that's because more and more countries are becoming more and more developed and getting more access to contraceptives and family planning and stuff like that.
But surely that pattern would persist. And the more we live and the stronger, smarter and stuff like that we get, the less we have children. Like, I don't know if this would necessarily lead to an overpopulation problem.
Potentially, yeah, that's true. And I mean, there is always new diseases coming about. So, like, realistically.
There's always new ways to get nerfed.
Yeah.
No, but even then, like, even if we fix all of those diseases, like, again, the reason why our population rate is decreasing, or population increasing rate, our population multiplication rate is decreasing, isn't because there's new diseases coming out and there's like more people dying and stuff like that. It's just there's less people being born. And the rate at which less people are being born is surpassing the rate at which less people are dying. And
I think there's definitely going to be a lag time between like us becoming more like advanced and stuff like that and becoming less populated. Like, there will be like an issue brought about by...
You're saying there's going to be a time period where... Well, I can go fast here. You're going to say there's a time period, there's going to be a time period where the birth rate is actually going to flip, or the dying rate is going to flip. Like, the population increase rate is going to flip. Is that what you're saying? What do you mean by there's a lag period?
Like, I think, no, there'll be like a lagging period between us, like, our population decreasing and us getting those benefits. You know what I mean? From, like, so going back to what we were saying, like, at the beginning, that our population is gonna... Wait, actually, my train of thought is completely fucked right now. Wait.
Don't forget to project.
Okay, but you have to give me a second, because now I'm confused on what I was gonna say. Okay, no. So, there's no point.
Okay.
I don't know where I was going.
I think another important thing too is that currently our land supply is inelastic, and currently our factors of production are kind of capped. Like, there's only, not in the labor sense, not in the productivity sense, but more in the amount of food, amount of energy and stuff like that.
Okay, I know where I was going with it. Sorry to interrupt you. But so basically what I was going with it is the lag time is going to be between countries that have access to this and have access to this biohacking and stuff like that. Most likely Western countries, and maybe like China and Israel. I don't know. Because
Israel is a Western country.
Is it a Western country?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Western is like developed. It's like informal.
Oh. You know, I always took Western countries as in the literal sense.
Western hemisphere.
Yeah.
But the problem is Europe's not in the Western hemisphere, I don't think. There's parts of Europe that are in the Eastern hemisphere.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't Portugal the middle line? I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Okay, so
there's going to be lag between the more developed countries and the less developed countries. However, I think the more because there's going to be an exponential increase in technology, they're also going to get cheaper and cheaper. Like, we have ChatGPT coming out, and then, okay, the plus model is $20 a month. Okay, you know, not super steep, like relatively to what you're gaining is actually really, really good. But yeah, it's a cost. And of course, ChatGPT is operating at a loss, I think, currently. They're not a for-profit. Well, there's been some weird stuff with Altman, but generally,
yeah,
I think they are operating at a loss. Then we have DeepSeek, and we have new AI coming out of like China, and like open source models like Llama and stuff like that run natively. Not to mention all of the AI, the art, the image generation models and the diffusion models and stuff like that. The technology is getting cheaper. We're finding better and more efficient ways to script or to model these things, and we're very, very, very new into this, into the diffusion models, into LLMs and stuff like that. Like we're new into the sphere, and we already see an exponential growth.
Yeah.
So I think when we get to things like biohacking, we're gonna see prices. I don't think the price gap is going to be as big as we say, because yes, we did see that like industrial revolution and like new technologies and stuff like that. But damn, bro, like how many? Look, have you seen that? Have you seen that map of India getting all those 5G towers and shit like that? Like within a year, I think the coverage went from like 12% to 90% or something like that.
Oh shit!
Like all of these countries are I think we're catching up a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as the institutional frameworks of these countries are strong enough to encourage development, to encourage adoption of new technologies, we'll see, I think, readily, or these countries readily adopting these new technologies. And I don't think it's going to be that big of a, I don't think that the gap is going to be that big. But again, we don't know.
But do you think like autocratic countries would adopt this kind of technology? Because again, you don't
India,
necessarily want...
Which isn't a democracy, or at least not a complete democracy.
Yeah, but you wouldn't consider it a complete autocracy either. It's like in between.
Swear it's a police state. Swear the military, Modi is like...
You don't consider it a complete autocracy.
Yeah, but...
I don't think it's at that level yet.
I think it's one of the closest autocratic, or... Again, how many, like, full autocracies do we still have around the world? Cuba's not an autocracy anymore. I guess Russia, China...
I mean, you could say Venezuela.
We're talking about like real countries.
Okay, but Venezuela's...
Yeah, and I think Venezuela is actually a really good example, because Venezuela is super fucked.
Oh,
it's
North
one of the
Korea?
most rich... Okay, come on. It's one of the most rich countries on Earth, and...
Russia.
Yet, it's one of the most wealthy countries on Earth, like resource-wise, and yet it's one of the poorest.
Yeah.
So that is a really important thing. Like, you do need strong institutional frameworks. You need like a fucking competent government.
But I mean, it's like most African countries. They have incredible amounts of resources there that are being heavily misused because of the governments.
Yeah.
Because of corruption.
Yeah. But there's still a lot of pushes, and this is where I become like a super neo-lib IMF, World Bank defender, where I start saying like institutions like the IMF and the World Bank are the ones that are like a saving grace here. And China, like, I hate to be a China defender,
yeah,
but them reaching, well, I prefer China less, because China puts less, there might be a word for it, less conditions, I think there's another cooler word, less conditions on their loans. So they just give money to African countries, and, you know, debt crises and stuff like that are starting to pop up here and there, but whatever. Some defaults going on, but that doesn't matter. The IMF and the World Bank, I think, do it a way swaggier, cooler, cuter way, which is, instead of just fucking throwing money at these countries, they give them a loan and they say, we'll give you some peas, we'll give you some cash. However, I want the democracy to be pushed, whatever. I want the electoral system to be stronger, whatever. They put like some, I don't know what they're called, in laws, like in contracts.
Provisions.
Yeah, but more than that. Stipulations, no.
Yeah.
Stipulations.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. Yeah, you put more conditions on the loan.
It's
conditional loans.
Yeah.
Which I think is a lot better. So a lot of people call it, oh, neocolonialism, this is Europe recolonizing Africa. I call it, I'm going to give you money if you're going to act in my best interest. Like, why am I going to give you money if you're not going to do what I want you to do? Like, that's insane. Like, yeah. I'm not going to, it's like, imagine your heroin addicted brother, okay? For the third time I'm out of rehab, I pull up and I'm like, Bianca, I swear, I just need some money now. Like, I know I've been asking you for money, I've just been spending on heroin, but I swear this last time I promise, like, I'm gonna turn it around, stuff like that. You're gonna say, I'll give you money if you do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And if you don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm sorry. I can't give you that money. Which I think is the only reasonable thing to do. Because otherwise, you could even argue that that's a moral hazard in the sense that you're allowing them.
You're funding poor operated. Yeah.
Not only that, you're funding bad stuff. Like, you could be funding dictatorships. You could be funding genocides.
Yeah.
Which I know, again, Europe funded genocides. Yeah, okay, but, like, the IMF and the World Bank are different.
Yeah. They're independent organizations.
Yeah.
But I think this is also, like, a very important factor, like, in the fact that, like, because of Trump now, we've been talking a lot about democracy and stuff like that. But I think this is also, like these kinds of independent organizations are also going to limit the impact he will have on democracy worldwide. Like, I think even though, like...
Yeah, IMF and World Bank could catch up. But I think America's a big contributor to those things, and with like, USAID. I don't know if USAID had a lot of relevancy to the IMF and the World Bank. I don't know if those two are connected at all. Again, the soft power really, really, really matters.
Yeah.
And especially now with BRICS and those countries separating.
There is gonna be more of an emphasis not now on it. Especially, I think Europe is going to start for example, Britain now has removed some of their.
Can you do this so your face doesn't get blown the fuck out?
Shit. Well, it doesn't fix it.
Whatever, it should be okay now. You were saying?
For example, now the UK has taken some money from their foreign aid that they've given to other countries. Like CDC Africa has been saying like a lot of bad things about them because they're removing their aid. But this is to remilitarize, so they can kind of account for or attempt to account for U.S. retraction of that of military power, right? In the EU and in Europe.
Yeah.
So I think Europe is gonna see a shift in, like, we've been very like kind of protectionist in a way. Like we've been focusing on our problems because we've had big problems, like inflation, like health crises, all of that. We've had a lot of problems, but now we're gonna have to become America. We're gonna have to face more outwardly, and we're gonna have to fix. Not that we haven't been doing this, but we're gonna have to make a more effort and play a bigger role in it now.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I think is going to happen. I don't see the leaders of Europe just being like, nah, it's okay. Like, we'll leave it.
Yeah, I think for now, hopefully.
Yeah, if we don't break up World War III.
No, I think we're doing good. I think European leaders are clutching up. I think they're locked in right now, and I think the most important thing is we really need to stop being weak. And again, like tying that back to like the Democrats in the U.S., like it's just weakness after weakness after weakness.
Yeah.
Like spinelessness.
Because I think it's been because we've shifted more left, right? And
who? Where?
Just Europe in general. Europe in general is more.
Have we?
I mean.
Then when?
I mean, we've taken this like through over time. We've become less traditionalist and we've become more open to new ideas.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, we've liberalized.
So we've liberalized a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like going back to what we were saying. I think that a lot of people that have the liberal movement that had happened. It's also based on, freedom of speech and like wokeism and like sticking up for the.
What do you mean by wokeism?
Like becoming more open-minded about gender issues, race issues, like just becoming more open to new previously like pushed away kind of like things that have been previously like liberalism. Yeah, but I think it's also
become more socially, more economically liberal.
But we're like it's basically like sticking up for the little guy, right?
Yeah.
And I think with that, we kind of took on a weak part.
Oh,
so
true.
To say.
Yeah, I think the problem now is that liberalism is very synonymous with weakness. With being a pussy, with being soft or whatever. Like liberal men, it's like gay and shit like that. Like, and like being right wing, Andrew Tate, strong, masculine,
like the
conservative,
red pill kind of thing. Yeah.
Whereas like in truth, it is the other way around. Like standing up for the weaker guy is the strong man move.
Yeah.
And being the pussy like Trump, Putin, dick sucking, pussy fighting. Like, oh, we're not going to take risks. We're always going to like team up with the stronger guys, even though they definitely aren't the stronger guys and you're just retarded. But like that is the pussy move. Yeah. The pussy move is being like, oh no, I don't like trans people because I actually secretly want to be a woman. And if trans people get more normalized, I'm scared I'm going to become like trans. Like stupid shit like, I don't like immigration because I'm scared of all of these brown people coming into my country and ruining everything. Like it's all fear. It's fear. Yeah. Very, very, very scared ideology, whereas liberalism is hopeful. Liberalism is about freedom. Liberalism is about hope, looking forward, optimism, progress, and conservatism is literally in the definition of the word, right? Conserve. Yeah. I want to stay. I'm scared of the future. I'm scared of change.
The definition of conservatism is
to conserve traditions,
it's
conserve
to conserve
everything.
Tradition. It's to be traditionalist.
Which, of course, in a sense, is good. Like, you do want some conservation.
Yeah.
But the world is permanently in flux. There's like, even now, like, we can take a lap around the square, and the second time we're gonna be here, we're not in the same place. At least not in like a foundational sense. Because even places change over time.
This lady's not going to be standing in the same place.
Even if she walks back,
that car is going to pull out and just drive away. It's not
even if that car comes back and parks again, it's I'd even be hard. Like, of course, like it is the same car in a sense.
Yeah.
Like we can't say it's not the same car because a lot of shit starts becoming very weird, and like the implications of that statement are very deep. But it's kind of like a thesis of ship, right? Like that car's tires have changed in thickness. That car paint has, even if it's negligible, like impossible to see, that car has changed. That engine is different. It's a little more dirty.
The sun is slightly lower. Like the sun is slightly set more.
Yeah. Everything is slightly different. No air particles will ever be in the same place. All momentum has changed. Energy has shifted.
Yeah.
Like, change is inevitable. Change will always happen. And you have the people that embrace change and move with change, which are the people that progress society, which are the people that improve and maximize the experience of the ones around them. And then you have the people that resist that change. You have the people that try to flow against the current, even though that is futile, and the change ends up happening, whether for good or for bad. Usually for good. Always in the long run, it's always good. But yeah, it's like when Democrats are in power, legislation gets passed and things get moved forward, and when conservatives are in power, they block, they stop, the wheels stop turning. Which, ironically, is actually kind of flipped now, with Republicans wanting to pass more agendas and more bills and shit like that. But
but they're technically like...
It is regressing.
It is regressive,
Like selling people to fucking labor camps in El Salvador.
Okay. Can you have, this was a question asked in my politics seminar, can you have conservative?
Conservative?
No, a conservative revolution.
What do you mean?
Like a revolution by definition means change, right?
Somewhat, yeah. I could agree with that, yeah.
No, revolution does mean change.
But it could be change backwards. That makes sense. It could be change. It doesn't always have to be change forward. But yeah, go on.
No, it's like, can you have a conservative revolution?
I don't know. What does conservative even mean? Like, you want to be traditional?
It's traditional.
Let's say if conservatism is pure just traditionist? Traditional? What the fuck? Traditionist? Then yeah, I think you can. Imagine a government...
Foundationally, I think the definition would be like traditionalism, conserving traditional values.
If we take conservatism...
but not, I think like the economic policies and like social policies differs.
Yeah, because you have neocons, which are more free markets.
Yeah.
Which we miss nowadays because the fucking conservatives are not neocons anymore. Just even more cringe. But I think you can. Like, imagine a government gets elected by the people, and they troll them, and they were like, now we're going to do mandatory gender reassignment surgery for everyone. Every single person has to go through mandatory, and then people are like, wait a minute, I don't know if I like that, and they do a revolution. I think that's a conservative revolution. I'm sure there have been examples of conservative revolutions throughout the world. Again, some amount of conservatism is good. It's never like all conservatives are bad. Like, we need to conserve some things. Again, like if we did mandatory gender reassignment surgery for everyone, probably not be a really cool world. That would probably be like a bad thing.
Yeah.
We want to conserve freedom to a certain extent. We want to conserve happiness. We want to conserve things. Like, it's not that we want to change everything. It's just like the idea of conserving something just for the sake of conservation, just for the fear of change.
Yeah.
I think is the cancerous ideology.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We're talking about conservatism.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but we agree. Like, I agree with you.
Of course, you agree with me.
But that's what I said.
No, but now we go back to AI. Finish this. We have to tie the circle, bro. We went on a massive tangent. We need to bring it back.
Okay. I forgot.
No, because we brought up the fact that there might be developed nations that will go ahead and I don't have ADHD anymore. I fixed it. Yeah. I just want to complete circle back. I knew exactly the point that we deviated. Whatever. My brain is so big. I don't know what to say. Okay. We talked about how there will be more developed countries that will improve and we'll do biohacking more, like, and make it more readily available, and there's going to be poor countries that don't get the biohacking. And do you still stand by that fear? That it's going to be a problem, yeah. I still think it's going to be a problem for. And you don't think that? I think it's just going to massively. It's not about eventually after we've done like majority of our development. What do you mean majority of our development? Like, you know, once biohacking, like once we figure it out, once everyone mostly has access to it in westernized countries and stuff like that, and we've gone most of the way that we can with biohacking. It's Gmail, it's fine. We then will, you know, spread it to the rest of the world. You know what I mean? No, even early stage. I don't think so. I don't think we'll start, like, we'll give like a little African child this bio, like the ability to, like, this African village, the ability to biohack. It's like the babies that are being born. Yeah, right at the start, I agree, but like I don't think it's going to be a lot quicker than I think the rollout's going to be a lot quicker than we think. Potentially, I think, because our manufacturing obviously has become better. Like, our technology has become better. The way that we approach things has become better. But also with that, you also have new developments where in stuff that we've never manufactured before, stuff that we've never done before. So, like, of course, it will take like, I think there will be a point where it does become available to everyone, but it doesn't mean it's going to be as soon as you think it is. I still think it's going to be I think it's still going to be a problem. The most recent example that we have of a significant development in biomedicine, I think, is the mRNA vaccines. So I want to see how long the rollout. So supposedly from initial development to rollout in African villages, which is like the most extreme example, mRNA COVID-19 vaccines took roughly 18 to 24 months. So January 2020, Moderna and biotech began developing immediately after the SARS-CoV-2 genetic sequence was released. Yeah, but this is also because a lot of diseases do generate from Africa. COVID didn't generate through Africa. Okay, not necessarily Africa, but like Asia, the underdeveloped country, like the countries that. Yeah, but I'm saying that biohacking, like living longer and stuff like that, is not going to be used on them at the beginning. The countries that would benefit the most from biohacking would be these countries that produce it are the ones that want to benefit the most from this, because it's going to be athletic advantages. No, those are not going to be the first things released. The first things released are all going to be medical. It's going to be cancer vaccines. It's going to be malaria. But I'm not... Okay, that I'm saying that we will usually go to the source. And that's how... Because that's how we fix diseases. We go to the source. And that's why America pulling out... The source of disease is in Africa. Usually it is. No, it's not. A lot of diseases have sourced from Africa. Recent, like, actual big disease... Like Ebola, yeah, but Ebola doesn't go anywhere. AIDS. Okay, how long is that? How long ago was AIDS? Yeah, but it's still a very big problem that generates from these underdeveloped countries. But I don't know if most AIDS cures go to Africa. I think AIDS is still a problem in a lot of Africa. Yes, because America's removed funding from centers that offer those kinds of vaccines and those kinds of treatments.
What I'm basically trying to say is that
but then
developments in biohacking that I'm talking about, which are like intellectual, athletic developments.
The problem is like but how does that even happen? Like, what is an athletic development?
I don't know, but
steroids?
I don't know. But this is just like, no, like biohacking, like actually changing your genetics so you become a more athletically and like a more, like a person that has more athletic development, that it can develop. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think those would be super regulated already from the start as soon as they got developed. Like, I don't know if those would be readily available. Maybe they would, but I think that biohacking is like late stage biohacking. I think early stage biohacking is the disease stuff. Is like reducing genetic propensity for certain things. And I think that's like number one Africa candidate, where Africa's the number one candidate for stuff like that. Because the problem with those countries is they have poor medical infrastructure, so it's hard to get stuff rolling out there and stuff like that. So if you get one shot or one pass through of biohacking or whatever that fixes your genetic, that basically makes you immune to things like malaria and stuff like that, you don't have to do a constant reuptake of that. You can just do once and then you're done. Just to quickly counter before, because you wouldn't say it because you're not a commie, but someone would say it, which is like, but this doesn't make sense because in capitalism, it wouldn't be profitable for companies to develop medicines that are like a one-time thing and then you never have to do it again. But then that the counter to that is vaccines.
Yeah.
Why would vaccines exist if that was true?
Yeah.
Because we have other ways to make sure that the profit motive does align with the betterment to society, which are like IP laws. Like having patent laws, with medical technology and stuff like that. So that facilitates or that incentivizes R&D for patent development and stuff like that, and owning it and being the only one to produce it. I do think that the profit motive can be made to align with the betterment of society. And we do see it, like capitalism. The capitalist countries are the most prosperous countries in the world.
Yeah.
Not in terms of just economic growth, but happiness.
Yeah.
And development and...
Yeah, I agree.
All of that shit. Yeah, but I just want to say it before.
But I still think it's going to be... I think you're looking at it from too much of like an optimistic point of view, honestly. Because I don't think that...
Can I go back to the mRNA vaccines?
Okay.
Global distribution began through COVAX, but availability was initially limited, if you remember. Like, we weren't able to... You're only able to get like a certain amount of vaccines for countries and stuff like that because we had to produce them. The supply chains weren't still perfect.
Yeah.
And then mid to late 2021. So I think at the beginning of 2021, the global development started, and then halfway through 2021 to late 2021 is when vaccine rollout started happening. Okay, to finish this off, we can disagree. I'm way more optimistic about the AI stuff. I'm way more optimistic about the biohacking stuff, and I understand being more, not pessimistic, but more, cautious. Like, let's not get
ahead of ourselves.
I love getting ahead of myself. So I love being ahead. So that's okay. We do agree.
I think we'll just have to see how it happens.
I agree that there's gonna be issues. I think there always is issues with every single new technology. I mean, coming from like a computer science, as much of a limited background as I do have in computer science, like it's like 10% writing new lines of code and like 80% finding out where the fuck the missing semicolon is. Like, why the fuck is this line of code like impacting this part of the code? And like, you fix one thing and you create 90 new problems. You fix one thing and you create 90 new problems, and that's fucked. And we have to fix that. And I think we're gonna have that for the rest of our lives. But I do think as humans, we go 100 steps forward, 10 steps back. 100 steps forward, 10 steps back. But I think in the long run, we're always moving forward.
Yeah, I agree.
We're always improving.
I agree.
And the future is bright, B?
The future is bright, but I'm just saying, like, let's just not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not just start thinking that, like, we're going to make the world a more wonderful place just because we have this new technology. Like, we are.
Even
we're getting there.
Yeah.
But, like,
there's going to be complications.
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
For sure.
What's good, gang? Yeah.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah, okay, give him the mic. Put it on the right side.
Oh my god.
We just spoke about so much on the way here.